All right, y'all. What we're going to be doing today is starting to work on some power-ups for our character. And currently, they can double jump, they can move around pretty well. But in the end, we're going to need our character to be able to probably do a little bit more than what they're doing right now. So we're going to need to give them some power-ups. Okay? So to do that, what we'll need to do is start to build some. So I'm going to build some out up here, and I'll probably remove a number of these pickups, but those pickups actually aren't bad to kind of get started with our power-ups. So let's go ahead and find one. We're going to clone that thing, and we're going to use that as our base. Okay, so here's variant side scroller. Going to be under blueprints, and let's see, we have items, and there's our BP pickup. So I'm going to right click on that, duplicate it, and I'm going to call this BP, let's start off with a speed power up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this out of here too, just because I want to have this back with all the other things that we're building for our whole game. So here's BP pickup, and it's inside our content. Okay, that'll work. Okay. So what I'm going to do is drag this into just the content folder, because it's acting like it's kind of in there right now, but we're not actually seeing it where we want to have it. Okay, go ahead and move it to content. There we go. And let me go to content folder, and here's BP speed power up right there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Let's take a look at some of the pieces that we have here. Okay. As soon as this opens up, there we go. Now, some of the code that we have on here has it getting overlapped, and the collision that we have on here, this is just using the overall actor overlapping, okay? And the way it's checking for it right now, it's checking to see, is this our current pawn? Player index 0 is the player 1. Remember, with counting in computer science, we always start at 0, so this is actually player 1. This is another way to check and validate, is this our player, instead of casting. Now, one thing that we get out of this is we can pull from this other actor and start affecting different pieces that we have, but the cast still makes that a lot easier, a little more simple. And we have all this other stuff going on here that we can probably get rid of, although we might keep the pop out, might keep that, because that's kind of a fun one. Set world scale, and then destroy the actor. So what we're going to do is get rid of all this extra stuff in here. Okay. Let's see, destroy component collision. So what that's doing is it's getting rid of this collision right here that's around our power up, and I may have to make some other small changes too, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and I'll probably go ahead and toss this as well. Okay. And I'll get rid of this one too. What we're going to want to do is highlight the collision, and we're going to do event begin overlap. Okay. And we're going to grab that, and this already has the other actor ready to go for us. So I'm going to pull off of our execution pin here and do cast to side scrolling character, or maybe it's just side scroll. Yeah, also got to spell it right. There we go. And then the actor connects up to our object, and from here we're going to start accessing some things on our character itself. So we'll go into the variant side scroller, blueprints, and the side-scrolling character. We're going to take a look at some things on our character real fast. We're going to be affecting mostly the character's movement component over here, so we want to take a look at what we have to work with. We have everything that controls the way the character moves, the gravity scale, the movement, sorry, this is mass. We can change the max walk speed, which we have right here. We can change the movement mode, but really it's nothing that we want to play with right now. And all these things are available to us so that we can decide what we want to our character to move. Right now it's set for, I think it was at 525. You'll notice if you do the default value, it defaults to 600, but I believe it's 525 just as the template for the side scroller starts it off. So this is one of the things we're going to be affecting right here is the max walk speed. To do that, we're going to drag off the object pin right here for that character, and we're going to get character movement. Anytime you want to affect something that's part of a component, we want to get that component first, okay? And then we're going to set max walk speed, okay? Sometimes you can't go directly to it. You have to go through its pieces. You have to kind of drill down to it. So in this case, I want the max walk speed to go from 525, and let's have it go to 950. Okay, and then something we're going to do, this one destroys the collision, which that's definitely a way to go. It just gets rid of that so that you can't run it over or anything. But the way this thing works is that right now it's going to pop out as it goes. Another thing we could do, as opposed to just destroying that component, is we could disable collision on something. So we already have a reference to collision right here. So it's just another way to do this. We'll disable collision, and let's see, we actually might be looking for enable. Set disable collision. I think we want to do enable collision, and then there is, so you can go either way. You can go with the enable collision, and there should be an option to turn that off. Okay, set collision enabled. There we go. So look what we have here. This will make it so no collision will be the new collision type for our collider. Okay, so that's one way to do it. We can also just destroy the component. Either way works pretty much the same. I want to do it this way just to kind of show you that it's going to interact similarly to our pickups. In fact, this is a little close to our pickup, so after this I'll need to go into the viewport and make it look a little different. But we have no collision for this now, and we also want to take the sphere. This is our sphere one that we can actually see right there, and we're going to want to drag off of that, and we're going to set the visibility because we want this to stick around for just a little bit before we get rid of it. Now we're going to have this power up control all of these aspects of the character before it destroys itself, and there's some issues with that. A lot of times you want to have this being handled on the character, and we will kind of switch that over at a little bit later date, but for something quick and dirty, this works just fine, and sometimes this may be all you want. So right now our visibility is false, and that's what we want. We want it to go away real quickly, and then we will have it, well, you know, if we want to keep that little cool piece at the end, we might need to think about that, because this pop out right here doesn't actually destroy the actor, and we can have that happen a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and push this together, and I'm going to bring it over. So it pops out, but it stays. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to bring this pop out over. Okay, so it uses this timeline to be able to kind of pop it out of existence. That's still working with the sphere there. And then as soon as that happens, we want to have a little bit of a delay. Okay. Okay, so the delay, I think we'll have it last. This is basically how long do you want the power up to last. So let's say maybe 5 seconds. Okay, and then we're going to have it destroy itself after that. But before it destroys itself, we need to put things back the way they were. So we'll have this max walk speed right here. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that and do a Control D to bring in another one. I'm going to put it back over here. And I'll need to make sure I get the reference for that, which is going to be, kind of make this a little bit larger area so you can see more of this. Okay, we're going to drag this reference right here of the character movement into this spot. Let's make it look a little bit nicer. There we go. And the max walk speed, we want to put that back to 525. Okay, and then after we do that, that's when we want to make this thing destroy itself. So we're going to go dragging off that execution pin, and we're going to have destroy actor right there. Okay. All right. Well, let's see how this thing goes. This should give us a pretty fast moving character once we put it into the level. Oh yeah, it looks just like all the other pickups. Let me change that up a little bit. I'm back in my viewport on the speed power up. Yeah, let's make that a little bit different. Let me drag my details out here, and something that would look kind of cool for a speed boost power up. Something kind of, let's see. Okay, that's kind of pedestrian, but you know, we could probably find something a little better. That's kind of cool looking, but I don't think it shifts around too much. Yeah, it's just a color grading wheel. Okay, how about that? No, that's not gonna work. Well, we'll find something here, I'm sure. Something that moves, I think would be good. So if that's what we're looking for, we do something like that. That could maybe work, maybe so. And then I'll tell you what, let's make this even a little bit cooler. Let's add on a particle effect. So I'm going to go up here to add, do particle, and let's get a cascade. There's two different types of particle effects that you have access to, and the particle system, just the regular cascade ones are great, really. Okay, so I've got some that I've downloaded off of Fab, which gives me some sparks, like that. And then we can try some different ones out. These are just kind of floating around. That's not really continuous. I think I like that first one I actually saw. So I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with those first set of sparks. Like I said, I think I got these on some thing on Fab. So if you want to download some extra stuff here to kind of draw the eye, that'll be something that'll definitely make people pay attention. All right, there we go. One thing we want to do, since this is the particle system's inside the hierarchy here for the sphere, one thing we want to do on the visibility, if we're going to be playing with that at all, let's see, will this affect everything? We'll have to see what happens. When the destroy actor goes away at the end, that'll affect the particle system. Let's see how this works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab that new speed power up, and I'm just going to put it right here. Now remember, we're only moving across one part of the y-axis, so we need to make sure we have that set in. I think on mine I have it set for 1,000. So there we go. Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm just going to drop down here. Kind of like it right there. And let's see what it looks like. Okay, that's not a bad looking one. Okay. Okay, so I'm moving pretty well, and seems to be really moving pretty fast, but I think that's me back to normal now. So I can't really see that it's done. I think I need something to kind of give me some visual representation of me changing. So one thing I probably want to do is change the one of the elements on the mesh of my character. So that's going to be either element 0 or element 1. I think just for ease of use, I'm going to change element 0 into something else. So right now it's Quinn01. So same thing we did with changing the character movement to 950 and then back to 525. One thing we're going to want to do here is put in a little gap, and we're going to pull off of this object pin, and we're going to get the character mesh. Okay, get mesh, there we go. And then we're going to set, let's see, set material. Okay, now there's going to be a lot of different materials in here. Let's go ahead and try set material. Yep, that's the one we're going to want. So I'm going to just kind of shunt this up here, and then I'll bring this execution pin back down. I think what I will do is expand this note so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, and I'll probably pop this over here, and we'll just kind of try to make this a little bit easier to read. Okay, so it is element 0 that we're going to be changing, and let's look for like a laser thing. Okay, there we go. Change that. Element 0 will change into the laser pointer, and then we'll want to use the same thing at the end. So I'm going to copy paste that. And right here, whoop, I'm moving really fast. Right here where we change everything back, I want to put this right in the same line. So I'm going to pick it up here too, because I'm going to need to make sure I get the target set up as the mesh of our player character, which is right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back. and just drag all the way over. There we go. And we want to change it back to Quinn. I think it was 01. There we go. All right, so this should tell us, you know, if things are changing the way we're expecting them to. So bam. All right, we did change. And let's see, I am pretty fast, but I'm caught behind this. Okay, and it's gone. Okay, so I think it is working. I think I just need to have a big space where I can really run. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to take my power up and probably my player start, and I'm going to run it over here. There we go. Yeah, I didn't need to shove that into the y-axis there. Let's go ahead and have it snap to the ground. Highlight that. There we go. All right, another thing I'm probably going to want to do is have this float above the scene root a little bit more, so that that is more where everything's at. So I'm going to go back into my speed power up, go into my viewport here, and let's see, there's my scene root. It's probably inside of that. So I'm going to just grab this and bring it up. And let's see, where's my scene root at? Yeah, I'm still not seeing it. Oh well, let's just see how this goes. It should be floating more now. Okay, there it is. Snap it to the ground. Okay, now it's doing a little bit of job of floating. Instead of doing play in editor, just because you have to kind of line that up all the time, I'm going to go ahead and grab my player start and just drag it over. I feel like that's going to give us a little better use point there. So okay, hit play. Okay. Whoop. All right. I do seem to be moving faster, and then it slows down. Okay. Let's try that one more time. Seemed like it kind of got caught on something. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Okay. Oh, I think the issue is I'm still hitting it. I'm still hitting the collision is not gone. So what I want to do is go back in here, and we have set collision enabled, no collision. That should be the only one, but let's take a look at our sphere too. Okay, so let's see, sphere, collision. Yeah, it's set for block. So instead of that, what we should probably do is right here we have set collision. We have collision being the thing that we're getting rid of. And I'm not really sure why they just get rid of that one. Let's kind of take a look here. Here's our collision, and I just want to see what collision profile it has. Oh, it's all over the place. Okay, so yeah, it's looking for an overlap here, and then some of the things are blocked, so that's why they're destroying that one. So I need to get rid of everything from all the way down. Let's go ahead and go back to the event graph and set collision enabled. I'm wondering if maybe destroying the sphere would, well, then it's not going to pop out. Yeah, let's, I think the issue is it's sticking around. So I think what we should do is probably set the collision for our sphere as well to be no collision. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and it might actually propagate down to everything, but might also let us do both of them at the same time. Let's just see what happens here. All right, I'm going to go back to our level. Okay, hit it. Oh, yep. That was, seems like that was doing that. Okay. Still running pretty quick, and then it slows us down. Okay. That's looking a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit play. It doesn't slow us down initially whenever we're moving. Ooh, and the jump is a little way better. And we're moving pretty quick, and then we just kind of stop moving so fast, all kind of abruptly. That works pretty well for that power up. And I think as far as making sure that you aren't getting stuck with this character, it's probably the collision on the power up if you are finding that you're moving a little slower. Okay, so we're going to be building these kind of power ups to accentuate, change different parts of our character, and we'll just keep adding and adding onto these. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit, understanding how we can change variables on other actors just by using that cast pin, not just to check, but also to change, just like we did with our keys and things like that. All right, we'll see you in another tutorial.